Hi guys, and welcome to the webinar session on Python full stack development today. I hope all of you are doing good, and so with this energy and enthusiasm, let us start the session as well. In today's webinar session, I am going to discuss about three important topics which we typically want to know about. The very first one of them is the importance of Python. Why should we learn Python? Okay, why should I go with the language Python? Why not go with Java? Why not go with any other language? Right? That is the first thing which I will be going on with. And the second topic which I will be going on with is what is the demand? What is the market demand right now? Okay, what exactly is the market demand? And how exactly you have to prepare yourself according to that. Okay, and the very third thing is how do we make yourself or how do you make yourself fit for the market? How can you make yourself fit for the market? That is the third topic which we will be discussing upon. So let's start with these things today, and yes, with the same energy, let's start again. So the very first question, I will be writing it here as well. So why do you need learn Python? Right, that is the first question. So why should we learn this Python programming language? So let's try to understand what exactly a programming language is. Okay, and then we will try to come out to a conclusion that why do we need to learn a programming language, and then we will understand that why should we go for Python. Okay, now what exactly can we do with the help of a programming language? Typically in today's world, we can go for creating up. Just let me write it down. Yeah. So in today's world, we all can go and create all these sorts of applications. I think everybody knows what applications are, right? I mean, let us say we talk about Facebook, we talk about Netflix, we talk about Amazon Prime, isn't it? All of them are your applications itself. Now, these applications we can design using any programming language. Okay. So there are many type of more things which we can typically design and create using this programming language. Let's say कि now web applications. So web applications are one of the very important things which we can design using any programming language. What do we mean by web applications? An example I would like to give you. The examples are, just a second guys. Yes. So what are web applications? So when we talk about web applications, examples I would like to tell you first of all for any web applications, like maybe we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have even your Netflix, Amazon Prime. So these are applications which we can typically utilize or which we can use through our browser. Okay, through our browser like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer. Nobody uses that, but still. And I mean, there are other browsers as well, right? So all these browsers we can typically use and we can communicate with all these web applications over the web. That's why they are called as your web applications. Then typically like that we have something called as desktop applications as well. Now desktop applications are the ones which are designed and which you can typically install in your desktops. Okay, so those are your desktop applications. So we can design web applications, we can design the desktop applications using the knowledge of Python. Okay, even we can go for Android applications development. Okay, so we can design all of these kind of stuffs using any programming language, and Python is one of them we can use to do all these type of things. I mean, Java is also one of the languages which we can typically use to design these things, but Python has stepped up the game. Okay, so now the question is that okay, now we know okay, what a programming language is. A simple word answer again, something which helps us in building something, right? Building applications. Now, why do we need to go with Python? Why shouldn't I go with any other language? Maybe something like Java or Golang or any other thing. The very first answer for all the people here will be because Python is very easy to learn. Getting it? There is actually very less distinction, there is actually very less difference between Python and English. Python is just very similar to English. Getting it? You will get used to the syntax of Python in a very easy way, and you will be able to understand the syntaxes at a very faster space. at a very high pace. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's very much relatable to your English language, right? So people who are coming from a different background, people who are starting to code for the very first time, or maybe let's say people who are coming from a programming background itself, okay, everybody can learn this language at the same pace, and that is the reason why the industry is booming with Python jobs. Getting it? There are lots and lots of Python jobs coming into picture because it is very easy to code with Python. The number of lines which we typically write to design any applications is also very less when it is compared with Python. Okay, so this is a very big you can say difference which is present between our Python and other programming languages. Okay, also one more important part. Now Python also opens the door for you to switch to other backgrounds as well. Getting it? Okay, I can explain that again. um, Fine. So let's say कि I have to switch to cloud in near future. Maybe I am bored of development, because see, typically if you will go into any industry, it's not like you'll be let's say you're working for for a company as a developer. So in future you can switch your job domain as well. Maybe you are interested in certain other technology, right? So you can learn that technology. So I will go for, let's say, becoming a developer, and after a few years I'm just getting bored of it. So let's say I want to move out of this domain and move to cloud. That's pretty good because Python is supported there as well. You can go for Python scripting, which is totally relevant to, which is totally equivalent to Python, and you can get a job in cloud domain as well. If you, let's say, want to go for data science is something which is a typical technology which is booming right now, isn't it? So data science also uses Python, right? So Python is having such a wide variety of use cases which will help you in, if let's say if you are gaining interest in any other area as well, then Python will be surely of help there as well. So that is also one of the reasons why I would, or why I typically suggest everyone to go for Python. I can just write down the use cases here again. So cloud computing uses Python, data science uses Python, right? All these technologies typically use Python as well. Okay, now we have seen that, okay, why do we need to learn Python, right? The next part is that what exactly, okay, what exactly is the market demand? So let me just write it down. What right now in market is in demand? This is the second question which I have to answer. So I will go back to this question as well, but before that let me just put few more things here. Now we have seen that, okay, what exactly the domains are, what we can do with Python, right? We can build the web applications and we can do all sorts of stuffs. It looks pretty interesting to me as well. Don't worry, just like you all, I'm also interested in learning more about it. But let us see what exactly we have to learn. Okay, now every time whenever you are starting with any language, not only Python, okay, you have to learn the basic syntaxes of that language. Okay, so in Python we will be starting off with the basic syntaxes, and we will be talking about what exactly these syntaxes are. So we will talk about what are data types and variables in Python, what are functions in Python, right? We will talk about the if else statements, the loops, all those things we will be talking about. After that we will be taking a switch to OOPS concepts. Now this is something where the language is defined. Every language has OOPS concepts and you have to be typically very good at OOPS concepts. Why? Because the whole of advanced Python, or you can say ki typically the whole of the web application is based upon OOPS itself. Okay. Typically you can distribute Python into two portions. Okay, you can say the first one as core Python, the other one you can call as advanced Python. Okay, now core Python, I am just putting that up. Core Python will contain only these two things. So we will be learning the basic syntaxes in core Python. We will be talking about all the OOPS concepts. I mean, most of you would have heard the term OOPS, and most of you would have been, or maybe you all are hearing it for the very first time. That's fine. Because at the end of the day you will be, both of you will be learning the same things, right? So OOPS concepts, what does it contains? It contains abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, right? So these are few pillars of OOPS concepts which typically we will be dealing with in the OOPS concepts part, right? So I will write that down as well. So inheritance, okay, then we will be going on with your polymorphism, then we will be going on with your encapsulation, then we will go with your abstraction, right? So these are the concepts which are typically going to be covered in your OOPS concepts part. Now, of course, apart from that, there are many more concepts like your exception handling and collections, right? So all these, or even your multi-threading concepts, so all these things comes into inside your OOPS concepts, and OOPS concepts is a very large topic and it is very interesting as well. Trust me, the person who is going to learn it for the very first time, you all will be very much, you know, learning this thing very. I mean, you all will be very much interested to learn these technologies. Okay, so that is what the core Python is going to contain. But now the question is that why do we have a core Python and an advanced Python part? Okay, so now understand the difference. Now in the core Python we only go for the understanding of the syntaxes. We understand the syntaxes and the OOPS concepts. We understand how this programming language has been defined, how we have to work in this programming language, and what all are the supported functionalities in this programming language. But when we talk about the advanced Python part, we typically try to design a full-fledged web application using that advanced Python. But that advanced Python is fully based upon the core Python portions. So it's like, let's say that if I have to speak in English, I have to learn the alphabets first, isn't it? If I do not learn the alphabets, I'll not be able to speak in the same language. I mean, in any language, you have to understand the alphabets, isn't it? That is what these things are, the alphabets. Now you have to learn after that how to form the sentences and words. Okay, so that's how we will be going on as well. The basic syntaxes, OOPS concepts are the very first thing which we will be talking about. Okay, so let's continue with the things then, guys. Now, till now, we have seen that what exactly Python is, what exactly have we have to start with, right? At least we have seen the key how we have to start learning the Python part. We know that okay, this is something which we have to learn at the very beginning. Now, let's try to understand what exactly is the use of this, right? So before that, I was talking about what exactly web applications are, right? What web applications are. Now, if I'll talk about this part, let's try to understand this thing in a little bit more depth. Okay. Now, when I talk about web applications, so they are typically applications which are being designed or which have been kept over web. So you can access them from anywhere, isn't it? And when we talk about desktop applications, they are a little bit annoying. Why? Because at the end of the day, you have to install that in a specific machine. So let us say that I am installing a desktop application on my laptop, and maybe after some days I just forgot my laptop at my house and I went to my friend's house, and maybe I have to use the same application. So I cannot use that application in my friend's house, isn't it? So what I'll have to do is I'll have to bring my laptop again, I'll have to come back to my house, I'll have to take this laptop to my friend's home, and then I'll be able to use it, right? That is the desktop application. But when we talk about any web application, what is the benefit here? The benefit is that I can access it from anywhere, isn't it? A simple example could be, let's say, I'll talk about your Gmails, right? If I think everybody has a mail ID, so you can access your Gmail account through laptop, you can access your Gmail account through your phone, you can access your Gmail account through another mobile phone as well, or maybe you can access it from your friend's phone, anybody's, right? So any machine you can typically access that because you are accessing it over the web. That is the basic difference between any of your web applications and desktop applications. So that is why web applications are considered to be the evolving technologies in today's world. And that's exactly the reason what exactly the market demand is, isn't it? To create web applications like this. And for that, what you need to do, you need to start learning to code. So if I'll talk about, let's say, Gmail, so there will be a server which will be kept at the far away location. Now this server will keep all the details. It will store all the emails which will be showed to you. It will keep all the um, usernames and account passwords, everything will be stored inside this Gmail server itself. Now you, on the other hand, will be sitting on your or at your house, and you all will be having a sip of coffee, and you all will be working on your with your laptops on, right? So this laptop, now let's say you have to connect to Gmail, right? So your machine will typically find the Gmail server and create a connection with it. Similarly, if you are carrying up a phone, let's say something like this, so you can connect your phone with Gmail as well. So your phone will also get connected with the Gmail server, and then you will be able to send the mails to other machines, or maybe you will be able to send the emails to different people, right? So these are the things which you are going to be capable of if you are trying, if you will be building up a, I mean, this is the whole mechanism behind Gmail, right? So we connect to the Gmail servers, and then we are able to send emails to one another easily through that, right? Now, how do you think this Gmail server is getting created? That is the magic of any web application, right? That is what exactly the application is. To create all these things, we have to work upon this area. Okay. Now, typically there are two things which are going to be there. Now, if I'll talk about this Gmail server can be built easily with your programming language like Python. But one more thing is there. The other thing which we need to learn is the front end part. Now, whenever I am opening my application in Gmail, okay, or whenever I am connecting to the Gmail email service, what am I seeing there? Now, isn't it whenever I open your Gmail account through the Chrome browser, we see there is an organized set of emails which are being shown to us. Now that is something which comes under the front end part. Getting it? That is something which is going to come under the front end part. The organization of all the emails so that you can read all the emails properly, and you can compose an email using that. So that is something which we call the user interface. Getting it? That is the user interface through which you are accessing the Gmail servers, and you are able to utilize the email service of Google. Okay, so that user interface is something which we build through the front end part. So every application has two things: one is the user interface, other one is the backend part. The backend part will consist that, okay, the usernames, the passwords, all those things will be contained in the backend part. Apart from that, let's say you have to send one email to another person, so where that email should be sent, that is also considered, or in my example I'm talking about, so that will also be done through the backend part itself. The backend server will take care that how or where that email has to go, from which origin to which destination. So let's say I have to send an email to maybe John, who is sitting here. So I'll just type down John's email ID and I will press an enter. But after that enter button is hit, everything travels to John's account. How does that happen? The backend server takes care of that. So that is where your coding will come into picture. The Python coding will come into picture there only. Okay. As per that, the user interface through which I am composing the email, that is something which is going to come inside the front end part. So these are the two things which you can typically learn and become a full stack developer. Becoming only a backend developer means you are learning, or you are going to be very much good at Python only. But now if you become a full stack developer, you will have the knowledge of backend, and you will have the knowledge of front end as well. So now see, if you will think about it over a big picture, you can see there are many types of opportunities which you will create for yourself. You can go for full stack developer, you can go for backend developer as well, maybe you can go for front end developer as well, right? So there are so many options for you now, which will now become enabled after you have learned the full stack development. Okay, so what right now in market is the demand? Now the demand in market is of the advanced Python portion. Getting it? The advanced Python portion. In advanced Python, we are going to typically learn Django. So Django is a framework which we will be learning. Now using this framework, we will be building this kind of application. Obviously, we will not be creating up an application like Gmail, but yes, somewhat near about to that, we will be creating up any application. Maybe we will be designing an e-commerce application. Right. So this is the framework which will help you in building some kind of application like this. Okay. You have to build an application. So you have to be very good at the basic, or you can say the core Python part. Once you have understood fully the core Python, then you have to go and work upon your advanced Python part, which is your Django framework, right? So Django framework is one such framework which, of course, I mean, the underlying infrastructure in Django is your core Python itself. But overall, there are some other functionalities which you will have to learn in Django. So giving it totally, you can say that once you learn core Python and advanced Python, you will be fully capable of designing a backend server for any type of web application. It can be an e-commerce application, it can be a email application, right? So that's what exactly your Python does. Now coming to that, now this is something which is in the market's demand, right? So now we have talked about the backend part. Let's talk about the front end as well, which will be covered also in this course. So for front end development, we will be going on with few technologies I will be listing out here. The very first one of them is HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. I think many of you would have heard the name HTML. Since we were in class, I think 4 or 5, we have been introduced to this HTML thing, and we have been working upon that. If you are totally new to it, then also it's fine, right? But at some point of our life, we have worked with this term HTML, right? Even though we have forgotten everything, but still we have worked with all these things. That is the very first thing. Now these three things, you can say, integrate with each other, and then they build up the user interface. Remember, the work of any front end portion in an application is to create a very good user interface so that it will be helpful for the end user to use that user interface and do his job. So the front end portion here will be typically used for, yes, building the user interface. So we can build the user interface using these three technologies, right? But these three technologies have become quite old, and that is why people typically go with Angular or React. Okay, Angular JS or React JS. These are the two technologies which are very much in demand in market apart from your JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript, Angular, React, and your HTML. So HTML is something which you can skip off if you want to. You can just get a brief idea upon HTML, and you can just skip off to the newer technologies, which is your JavaScript. JavaScript is very important, and it is very in demand in market as well. Getting it? Apart from that, we have Angular JS, and then we have React JS. So Angular is something which yes, Angular is something which we can go for, or you can even go for React, or you can go for both. Okay, that depends totally upon you, that what do you want to learn in the front end part. Typically JavaScript will be your skipping stone. After that, Javas JavaScript will be your stepping stone. After that, you'll have to go for either Angular or React or both. Every option is available. So this is something which you will have to be very much, obviously this is what you'll have to choose in your front end portion. So once you are really fully equipped with your front end part, and once you are fully equipped with your back end part, then we will be going on with your development. Then only you can call yourself a full stack developer. Okay, now the third question here is, how do you make yourself fit for the organization or the market? Okay, for any organization, I should say. Okay, now see, this is a very big question to answer, and trust me, there will be varied answers for various people, but there are few points I would like to list out. Now see, if you have to make yourself fit, the very first thing I will say is that you will have to work very hard. That is the very first thing which we require. Apart from that, once you are ready to work hard, you will have to start coding. Getting it? You have to start learn to code, isn't it? You will have to be interested in that. So that is the first point which I will tell you, that learn to code. Now, learning to code is, it's not like you will just have to. I cannot say, or I cannot give you an assurance ki whatever. Now, learning to code has different meanings to different people. Some people will think that learning the course, that is more than enough. I would say no, because every time what you need to do is you need to always put up your effort as well. There are many competitions, many coding competitions which typically keep on happening from time to time. You'll have to get yourself enrolled in that. You will have to be working in those. You'll have to be participating in those competitions. You'll have to know how the industry is going on, right? So that is the very first important step, that you have to learn to code, right? After that, you have to be very good at the communication part. So communication skills should be very sharp. because communication skills are something which helps you in expressing yourself, right? So every organization, it's not only ki they will only look at the technical aspect of yours, they will also look at your communication aspects, because a developer is not only supposed to code, he is also supposed to express himself, right? If you're not able to communicate properly, you'll not be able to express yourself, and that is where many people get rejected as well. I mean, I have met many coders who are very great technically, but they falter in the communication end. And trust me, that is, I mean, that is something which you will regret the most if you will get rejected for those regions, right? Then the third one will be your body language. Now see, typically body language is something which is also highly observed in any interview. Okay, whenever you'll be going for any interview, this is also which will be highly observed. So body language is something which you have to be very proper at. Okay, so communication skills, body language, and apart from that, the coding part, right? So coding we will be helping you all with, obviously. um, we can provide you the respective uh, re- things which are needed to code, but the communication skills and body language, all these three things you'll have to work upon to be able to cope up with the industry standards. Okay, now these are the three important things which are needed, and that is where my presentation is going to stop. Now anybody having any questions? Right, so John asked here that, yes, John. So John is asking me that how exactly we can connect to use to learn all these technologies. So see, John, typically you'll have to connect the tech stories team, because I am working with them, so they will be helping you out in the, and in this aspect. You can just probably take up the course of Python or full stack development. That depends upon you. So just connect to them at your own convenient time. Okay. And Mahesh says that thank you, sir, for so much great presentation. Yes, Mahesh. Yes, thank you so much, Mahesh, as well. And then Aditi says that that was a very nice presentation. Thank you, Aditi, so much. And that's it. After that, Ramesh says that, can you just explain us again the overall, or can you just give us a review in the last 2 minutes of time? Yes, Ramesh. Typically, I can give you the overview. I will give you the overview to everyone so that everyone becomes very well equipped with whatever we have to go ahead with. Now, see, guys, I started this presentation with three questions, keeping in mind. With the first one was that why do we need to learn Python? Then what is the market demand and how you have to make yourself fit for that. So let us, I mean, I'll just give you the overall idea of what exactly you have to do. Now, why do we need to learn Python? Because I told you at the beginning itself, that is a very easy language, and it is something which people coming from varied backgrounds can also learn, because it is typically similar to English. Okay. The second point why we should go for Python is because of the varied backgrounds it is being utilized in. It is not is being utilized for creating up applications, web applications or desktop applications. It is also used in data science. It is also used in cloud computing. Right. How do we have to start learning Python? We have to start learning Python with the very first core Python, right? Core Python is the first thing which we'll be learning, in which we'll be covering the basic syntaxes, OOPS concepts, and we have the four pillars of OOPS also present in that, right? I mean, apart from them, there will be different more topics present. Then we will be learning the advanced Python part, right? That's pretty good, and that is what we have to go after that. And then I talked about front end. So why did I go went ahead with front end? Because this is something called as full stack development. So I told you that there is, I mean, whenever there is any application which is created in today's world, there are two portions in it. The first one is your front end, other one is your back end. The front end typically consists of the user interface which the user typically uses to connect with the application. But the backend part, the backend server keeps check on all the functionalities. If I have to send an email from one account to another account, the sending process will be taken care by the backend. But the user interface which you will be utilizing will be the front end portion. So every application has the combination of both. It is a must, and then only we'll be able to interact with the application, isn't it? So that is something which we have to do. I mean, at all the times, and then the integration of the backend and front end is called as full stack development. Now, if you will only learn Python, you can only become a back-end developer. If you only learn the front-end technologies, you can only become the front-end developer. But if you go for full stack development, you are going to learn the back-end as well as front-end. So back-end plus front-end takes you to become the front-end. I'm sorry, to become the full stack developer, right? So what is the purpose of a full stack developer? Now you will be taken by an organization to work upon the front end modules of any application as well as the back end modules, right? So the full stack development is a course which is very high in demand right now. Why? Because at the end of the day, you have to go for working upon both the types of things, right? Back end as well as front end. And you see, I will suggest this for one more reason, because at the end of the day, it is trying to, I mean, you yourself are opening many multiple domains for yourself. You can also work as a backend developer. You can also work as a front end developer if you wish to do that, right? So that is something which you can typically do. Now, apart from that, also I told you that what all the technologies which we'll have to move ahead. So in the advanced Python part, we will be talking about the Django framework, and in the front end part, we'll be talking about the HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. But I've told you that this is something which has become very old now. At least you should start with JavaScript. And if you really want to compete in the market, you should go with Angular or React after JavaScript. Okay. So these are the things which you have to be well equipped with to become a full stack developer. I hope that is clear, Ramesh, right? Thank you. Thank you so much. Now there is one person, Mahi. Mahi says that thank you for the nice presentation, sir. Yes, thank you, Mahi. So that will be all from my end, guys. And I hope there are no more questions, or are there any more? Okay, fine. There are no more questions. So thank you all for joining up for the webinar, guys. And it was a very nice webinar. Thank you all for connecting. Bye bye all. Have a nice day.